We're now going to move to the prevention procedures that are specific to our youth ministries. Like we did with our children, physical contact with youth can be a very encouraging and safe and caring thing to do. However, it needs to be appropriate. Ministry personnel need to be aware of appropriate touch. Things like the one-arm hug, where you are kind of beside the person and you give them a hug. That's a shoulder-to-shoulder hug, where you're beside the person and you give them a hug around the other side, shoulder to shoulder. Or if you want to give them a frontal hug, giving the one-arm hug, so that they can always get out. Other things that are appropriate are touching someone on the shoulder or on the upper back. Things to show support and care. However, there are also many inappropriate ways of touching that we need to refrain from. Things like prolonged hugging, extended hugging, over-exuberant affection, obviously lap sitting, kissing, touching of thighs, knees, back rubs, or inappropriate spots of the body. Things like horseplay or tickling or back rubs just should be refrained from. At this point, we also just need to say that as ministry personnel, you are not allowed to date anyone who is part of our ministry, of our youth ministries. In terms of overnight events, all of the overnight events will be pre-approved by our Board of Elders, and written consent and medical releases will be received from parents. And those are found at the back of the Plan to Protect. All of these forms will be kept on file permanently. Again, overnight activities will be supervised by at least 2 ministry personnel who are unrelated. Youth who are attending retreats or overnight events won't be allowed to leave those events before the event is over, unless an arrangement has been made with those parents. Now, if there are separate rooms or tents that are available for sleeping, that is obviously the best way. Males and females will not be allowed to share rooms or to be in each other's rooms for any reason during overnight events. Now, if there is only one sleeping area, for example, just a large room that everyone is going to be sleeping in, then female and males will be separated by some sort of a barrier. Often that would be bags or other things, and with that, changing areas would be separate as well. Now, we live in an age of instant communication. With social media, emails, and texting, it's very easy to keep in contact with people, and we want to invite you to use those to share communication and to make sure that the communication is done well with our youth as well as their parents. Obviously, face-to-face meetings and face-to-face communication is always best, but we do have many other ways of doing it as well. Now, for children who are under the age of 12, we would ask that ministry personnel do not communicate with those children via emails or Facebook or anything like that, other than by family emails or family Facebook or family cell phones. Now, with older youth, communication, so for youth who are 13 years or older, you are allowed to use, to call them, to text them, to write on their Facebooks or what other social media is available at that time. However, we would ask that as ministry personnel, you would limit your online communication with youth via social media to daytime hours. So, 8 o'clock in the morning until 11 p.m. Now, if there is an emergency call or text that's received outside of these hours, the ministry personnel must immediately let one of our pastoral staff know. Online communication also should not involve video messaging, things like FaceTime or Skype. Those type of things can just lead to issues. The one exception is if there's a training or a group conference call that's been approved. Now, ministry personnel need to also ensure that all online communication with youth is done in view of other people. In other words, on group pages or wall-to-wall rather than personal messaging. Now, in the rare occasion that a youth moves beyond communication of information and starts going into deeper stuff online, it's really important that as ministry personnel we set up a time for a face-to-face encounter with them in a public place. Church members, adherents, and ministry personnel are also encouraged to demonstrate and to model purity, integrity, transparency, and accountability with all communication, including those that I've just talked about. And so that's everything that has to do with our prevention policies in terms of our children, in terms of our youth.